Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
A man brought before the magistrate's court this morning on several charges, including rape, armed robbery, and murder. We have the details straight ahead.
A woman left dead after an early morning fire.
Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner blasts the Prime Minister's latest comments on that China deal. That story straight ahead.
A local civic club makes a stance against domestic violence. Children celebrate Universal Children's Day and Thanksgiving. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, the man police believe responsible for the latest armed robbery at Super Value Cable Beach last Sunday, a host of other armed robberies, and the murder of a businessman is off the streets and in police custody. Our Simone Davis was in court during his arraignment and filed this report. Simone?
That's right, Christina. Marco Davis was brought before magistrate's court this morning for several charges, including rape, murder, and the recent armed robbery at Super Value in Cable Beach.
18-year-old Marco Davis stood before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe in court number 2 this afternoon, charged with the armed robbery of Super Value's Cable Beach location this past Sunday. The accusations are that on November 20th, Davis, concerned with others, robbed John Colley of $850, which was property of Super Value. Davis was also charged with dishonestly receiving a Samsung Galaxy cell phone from Keith McLean and dishonestly receiving $11,881, which was also property of Super Value. The incident led police on a high-speed chase through several communities in New Providence. Davis was further charged with possession of a firearm, a Glock .40 caliber, with the intent to endanger the lives of Inspector Paul Cash, Corporal 217 Haynes, and Police Constable 3542 Roll. However, the charges did not end there. Davis was also charged with the November 13th murder of businessman Albert Ramming, whose bullet-riddled body was found in his car at the Montague foreshore. Davis was not required to enter a plea for that charge. As he stood quietly before the magistrate, Davis listened to the remaining charges, which included the October 3rd armed robbery of Gino Petty, who was robbed of $150 cash, property of Esso gas station. Davis was further charged with the rape of a 16-year-old girl and robbing her of a Michael Kors watch valued at $400 and an iPhone valued at $500. Davis was also charged with a host of other armed robberies, which included cash, jewelry, cell phones, a Honda vehicle valued at $7,000, all occurring between October 3rd and November 20th. Davis was not required to enter a plea for any of the charges and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections.
Marco Davis is expected to return to court on January 31st and February 1st for the presentation of the voluntary bill of indictment. From the Magistrate's Court for our news, I'm Simone Davis. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Simone. Well, a woman is dead and several homes destroyed after an early morning fire this Thanksgiving morning. Officers from Police Fire Services and the Central Detective Unit are on Eleuthera today investigating the blaze. Police received reports of a fire in the current North Eleuthera shortly before 3 this morning. When officers arrived, they met a 2-story home engulfed in flames along with nearby vehicles. Police say despite their attempts, along with volunteer firefighters, 3 other homes were destroyed as well. Our news understands the victim's name is Audrey Simonet. The cause of the fire is unknown. Police investigations continue. In other news, Long Island Member of Parliament Loretta Butler Turner is accusing the Christie administration of pushing the Bahamian people to their breaking point following the revelation of that proposed China agri-fisheries proposal. While Prime Minister Perry Christie said on Monday that the deal is a no-go, Butler Turner says at this point it's clear the Bahamian people have lost trust in Christie and his administration. Our Jasmine Brown has the story.
Butler Turner says if the Prime Minister really wants to be taken seriously, he must do more than just talk. The Prime Minister's comments came after a fiery exchange in the House of Assembly on Monday over the controversial proposal for a $2.1 billion China-Bahamas agri-fisheries project in Andros. Earlier this month, Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources V. Alfred Gray confirmed that he gave Bahamas Ambassador to China Paul Andy Gomez approval to pursue the proposal in October. At the time, Gray called it a progressive initiative. While the issue has caused a firestorm of controversy, Christie declared in the House of Assembly that if such a plan came before Cabinet, it would be rejected outright. Butler Turner says at this point, anything the Prime Minister says on the matter is hard to believe.
The Prime Minister and his administration suffer from a huge credibility deficit. Very few people believe what they have to say.
The proposal, which Gray wanted the ambassador to pursue further, calls for the incorporation of 100 companies to be owned 50-50 by Bahamians and Chinese, which would involve fishing in Bahamian waters and farming in Andros. The Long Island MP says it's ridiculous and even unthinkable that such a proposal was even being considered.
It is reprehensible that anyone, any right-thinking Bahamian, would even consider such a proposal.
She called for those involved to be relieved of their posts.
In addition to Alfred Gray being dismissed, which our leader has called for, I think the envoy needs to be recalled to the Bahamas. But the only way that they're going to save face is if they publicly demonstrate that these discussions are ended.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Still to come on our news.
Santa says no to violence against women and girls. That story is coming up straight ahead.
A Grand Bahama school makes repairs after students and teachers protest, celebrating the rights of children on Thanksgiving. That's coming up when our news returns.